Hey y'all, I'm Rylan. Welcome to my channel. I am doing my very first book haul for the first time in several months. I fell into a reading slump back in March, stopped reading, stopped filming videos, stopped posting on Instagram, stopped buying books, and very recently I have gotten back into the whole reading thing. I will be uploading a video very soon talking about where I've been, what I've been doing, and how I've slowly gotten back into reading over the next couple of weeks. I will not be posting as often as I used to just because I don't have time for it at the moment in this season of my life, but I am hoping to have consistent videos for y'all, whether that's once a week, once every other week. I do hope to get back into a consistent routine on this platform, but I do want to take some time today to talk about some books that I've recently acquired because before my reading slump a couple of months ago at the beginning of March, I purchased a ticket for a romance book convention that was coming to the Nashville area in July in this month. So I got that ticket probably at the very end of last year or the very beginning of this year, and in spite of my reading slump, I did acquire some books for that convention because I did still plan to go, and I knew that I'd also buy books while I was there. So I have a little collection of books, I have a good stack of books that I got for this event. Otherwise, outside of these books, I hadn't really been buying books for the last several months outside of my regular subscriptions that I have. So it was very fun to accumulate some of these books at this event and in the few weeks leading up to this event. And I wanted to kind of share what I got with y'all. I do love a good book haul. And again, I hadn't been buying books for like 2 or 3 months. So it was fun this month especially to jump back into buying some books as I prepped for this romance event. I did win a free book at the convention as well, which is super exciting, and I'll talk about that in a second, but it was very fun to meet several authors that I have read and loved in the past and a bunch of authors that I'm very excited to read, and got my book signed by them or purchased their books and supported them. So I am very excited to go through the stack that I have and talk a little bit about these books that I acquired at this romance book convention that happened in Nashville yesterday. It was a blast. I do plan to go back next year as long as my schedule is open that day. It should be if I buy the ticket months in advance, and as long as it stays in Nashville, which I'm assuming it is, but that location wasn't specified. So we'll see where it is, but I'm gonna guess, fingers crossed, that it stays in this area for next year. But let's do a book haul really fast because I think it's fun to show y'all my new books. I do plan to read one of these books for a reading vlog over the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for that, and I will probably be doing vlogs for several of these books as I get back into reading, as I get back into vlogging, and as I get back into specifically the romance genre, because going to this event kind of reminded me how much I love romance and I've missed the genre, and I'm excited to get back into reading all the romance books. So without further ado, let's talk about all the books that I got for the romance era experience in Nashville. I am just going to go in order of the stack that I have right here. The first 4 books in this stack are the 4 authors that I purchased books for before the event but didn't end up getting the chance to meet. However, I did just want to mention them because I got them for the romance era experience and am still very excited to get to them, hopefully in the near-ish future. The first book that I got was Love and Hockey by Monty J. This is of course a sports romance with hockey. This book takes place as the main character Bishop being in the NHL. I've tried to say that line, that sentence like 4 times, and the words or the acronym NHL kept tripping me up. So slowed it down big time, but he is in the National Hockey League and he is the golden boy. And then the female main character Valor, I can't tell if that's an N or an R, Valor. It looks like she also might play hockey. She was raised on the ice by a single father who inspired her love for hockey. So this is an age gap romance. He is 8 years older than her and one of her father's closest friends. So they meet through hockey, I'm guessing, because her father raised her to play hockey. So it should be really fun. Actually, I hadn't looked up the back of this book in too much detail before right now, and I think I might want to do a hockey romance reading vlog soon, or a hockey romance binge soon, because one, hockey romance is like my favorite sub trope, I guess, of the sports romance trope as a whole. My favorite, yeah, like sport to read about, I guess. So might have to read this one soon because suddenly it sounds like something that I want to read at this exact moment. Next, I had Revenge Era by Brittany Nicole. Did not get to meet her either, but I actually got this in my romance reveal box subscription, and it was perfect timing because it was like last month before this event. So I was like, well, I'll add it into my pile of books for this event and maybe I'll get to meet her. It is already signed though, so that's fun at least. But this is just a novella. I think it's a workplace novella. There's a guitar on the back. Takes place on New Year's Eve. I don't know. It's about revenge, of course, naturally. I do love a good quick novella, so maybe this will be a good one to pick up if I start to feel slumpy again soon as I'm getting back into things, or just want a quick read to take my mind off of school for a little while. I also got Someone You Love by Kristen Granada. I was really hoping to meet her at this event but did not get around to doing so. However, this special edition paperback looks beautiful. I think this is going to be a sad romance. It sounds like it's going to be sad just based off the title, and the cover is kind of like dark and dreary but beautiful. So I don't know, I have kind of high hopes for it. This is about Bryce, who was an NFL player before he was injured really badly. And so he ends up seeing a beautiful woman who he believes he doesn't want to fall for her because he thinks that she'll leave her like everybody else has left him. But Charlie, who is the female main character, proves him wrong, I think. But she is in town for a bucket list that she made with her mom before her mom passed away from cancer. So she is in his hometown, or she is in his town at the moment, to complete this bucket list, or to complete a thing or two off of this bucket list, and that is how they meet, it sounds like. I think it's gonna be really good. I feel like it could make me cry maybe, but we will see. And then the last author that I got a book for that I did not get to meet was C.R. Jane, and I got her book called The Pucking Wrong Number. Again, a hockey romance. There's a trend here a little bit with sports romances, but I've heard really good things about this author. I don't know what this one is about, but I mostly got it just based off the vibes, the fact that I'd heard of her before the event on Instagram and social media, and the fact that it's hockey. So there's that one. The rest of the books that I have in the stack are by authors that I got to meet at this event, and I'm very excited about all of them. First up is The Bourbon Bride by Adrienne R. Hale. I will be reading this for a romance reading vlog over the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for that coming. But this is a Southern romance, so it takes place in the South here in the United States, and it is about Hayes, who is a billionaire. He's a killer of dreams, a demanding businessman, and Paige, who is a hotel heiress and a Southern belle, and she runs straight into the arms of the devil, which is Hayes, and now he will never let her leave. I got to meet her, of course, and she was very entertaining and very fun and very sweet. I am very much looking forward to reading this book for my reading vlog. She gave me a friendship bracelet, and it was great getting to talk to her for a couple of minutes. She did sign my book, of course, as all these authors did, and I just think that it's super sweet that all these authors took the time to write notes to us in our books, to pass out little trinkets and gifts and paper swag, and just have conversations with their readers as we were at their tables. So Adrienne R. Hale, The Bourbon Bride, is one of the books that I got at this event. Next, I got to meet Holly Lucky, who is the author of When It Burns. I almost got this book before the event, but ended up waiting until I got to go to her table, and she signed it for me. Had a really fun time talking with her as well, and she gave me a ton of stickers and little magnets and postcards that went with this book. I'm super excited to read it. This also looks like a Southern cowboy romance, kind of like this one takes place in the South, so I'm thinking that it'll be a fun time. He is a fire chief in Alabama in a very small town, and it sounds like she is a teacher. So that should be really fun. I do love a good small town romance, and this one is a small town romance, so I am very much looking forward to getting to this. I might have to recommend it to Stasia if I love it, because I know that she loves small town romances too. So I am highly anticipating this one. I love the cover, it's stunning, and I love that she signed my book in bright pink marker. I think that's just very fun. So When It Burns, another book that I got at the Romance Era Experience. I got to meet Fiona Cole, and I bought a couple of books from her, and I won a free book from her table. So I purchased Blame It on the Champagne, which is one of Stasia's favorite books. This is about a girl and a guy, and she has a wild night with this guy who is a masked stranger at the time. Turns out they agreed to get married. As long as my new husband keeps his mouth shut, I can survive 5 years of our little arrangement. It's too late for anything else. But our impromptu wedding leads so much more than I bargained for. His dirty promises warm me. His kisses make me lightheaded. His respect slips past my best defenses. The hate turns to friendship and makes me dream of more. He's like the most dangerous kind of champagne. So it sounds like it wants to be hate to love, but like maybe he's obsessed with her and wants to treat her right. And even though they agreed to get married when they were drunk and she doesn't want to do it, it all ends up working out. But I know that Stasia loves this book, so when I saw that she had it at her table, I wanted to snag a copy and finally read it because she's been begging me to for years. So this is the first book that I got from her. I also got the 5-year anniversary hardcover edition of Voyeur, which is one of my favorite books. This is a student-teacher taboo romance, and I read it a few years ago and loved it. So I'm very excited to have a hardcover edition of it so I can hopefully reread it and annotate it and just be able to display this fun book on my shelves. And then the book that I won from her is called Shame. This is the Hello Lovely exclusive edition, and I won a copy, so that's exciting. I have no idea what it's about. Might be best friends to lovers with lots and lots of spice. I don't know. That's what it kind of sounds like maybe on the back, but I had not heard of this one before. I feel like I might have seen the cover around on Instagram when Hello Lovely first did this book, but like I didn't remember the title of it. I didn't know what it's about. I still don't really know what it's about, but I have enjoyed Fiona Cole in the past, so I am looking forward to getting to this one at some point, hopefully. The next stack of books I have are all by B. Celeste. She was one of the 2 authors that I'd read from in the past and like had fallen in love with like right away. I actually got to meet her last summer in Ohio, and so I ran to her table first and got Wanted You More. I bought this at her table. This is an age gap hate to love romance. Should be really fun. It might make me cry or make me sad. She said that it is kind of emotional, so I do have expectations for that because her books, the 2 that I've read, the 2 of the 3 that I've read by her have made me cry. So I'm hoping that that one will too. I also had her sign Beg You to Trust Me and Lose You to Find Me, which I had purchased back when they first came out. I read the first book in this series for a reading vlog last year, which I'll tag above, and wanted to buy these 2 as they came out. I just haven't gotten around to reading them yet, but I do really love B. Celeste and am super excited that she got to sign my books. I'm very much a fan of hers and loved getting to see her again. And then the last 2 books that I had from her are The Truth About Heartbreak and The Truth About Tomorrow. They are companion novels, I think. Both of them are very chonky. One is, yeah, I think this is like age gap and dad's best friend maybe, because the back of the book says I fell in love with him when I was 13 years old. He was older, mysterious, and unattainable, the guy I could never touch. Then one night changed everything for us, but there was a huge problem. He belonged to her. So I think this is the age gap dad's best friend romance. And this one says age is just a number, just like he's just a boy and I'm just a girl, except that's not true, is it? Because 15 may be a number, but it's bigger than that, bigger than us. It's a number that separates us, an excuse that keeps us apart, but I'm not willing to give in until I get what I want. After all, how many other girls can bring a grown man to his knees with one little smile? So maybe they're both age gap. I don't know. I've also had these books for a very long time. I was hoping to read them last year, but did not. However, she signed these books too, and I am still very much looking forward to reading them. They are chunks, but I feel like they might get me to cry as well. So I will be getting to these someday. A couple of more authors here, 2 more authors. The first is Greer Rivers, who I had also read in the past, and she was the second author that I ran to really fast because I wanted to make sure that I got to meet her and talk to her for a few minutes. But I brought 3 of her 6 books I think that she has published. I brought Phantom, Rouge, and Dreadful. I've only read Phantom by her, and I read it on my Kindle, so I don't have tabs in this one sadly, but I'm hoping to reread it someday soon and annotate it because I loved it. I cried during it, and I also got the second and third books in the series on Panga several months ago and was able to complete my collection before the event occurred. But I did get to meet her and we talked and she signed my books, and I got a ton of stickers and bookmarks and a pin from her, I think. And it was just really fun, especially to meet a couple of these authors that I've read in the past and have loved and have connected with and get to kind of express my appreciation of their books and how much they mean to me. So I had her sign these 3 books, and then I also had her personalize this special edition copy of Phantom that I have from, I think, the Baddies book box. But I was like, would you be able to personalize this, because I will never be getting rid of it. So she did. She wrote a little note in it that says, "Rylan, so great to meet you." And I think that's really, really sweet. And then the last author that I got to meet was Emerson Hoyt. She is the author of a duet that sounds super good. It's small town romance, it sounds like. It ends on a cliffhanger, the first book does. And it's about Riley and Colton. Riley is a struggling college student who is desperate to reconnect with the only family she has left. She ends up in this small town in West Virginia, and she meets this guy named Colton, who is a tattoo-covered troublemaker with a knack for pushing her buttons. It sounds like it's maybe hate to love for a while, but I think it's also touch her and die vibes, small town vibes, mystery and suspenseful vibes as well. And so the first book is called September Doves, and the second book is called Summer Sparrow. She was very fun to talk to, and I had a great time getting to learn a little bit more about her books and have her sign them as well. This book is a chunk compared to the first one, but I feel like this could be a really addicting duet that, like, I just want to binge. So I'm excited to try her out. These are her only 2 books I think that she has published thus far, but I am super excited to read them, and I think these covers are beautiful. So I'm looking forward to diving into these 2 books as well. But alongside these books, I also got a couple of tote bags, a ton of stickers, some magnets and pens and pins, and a piece of candy. That was exciting. It was just an overall very, very fun day, and it very much reminded me how much I love the romance genre, how much I love the book community, and especially the romance book community. I feel as though, I don't know, like, it's just so easy to talk to people about romance and to find connections because of the genre and to make friends because of this genre, and I'm so appreciative of people who put on events like this to allow readers and authors a space to connect. And I just really had a fun time with it, and I'm really excited to hear about next year's convention that's happening and to see what authors are announced for it as that all gets put into place. But I think it's going to be a really fun time, and I do plan to hopefully go to it as long as my schedule allows, but pretty sure it will. I'll make it allow it. So it's gonna be a really fun time. It was also just very fun to have an excuse and a reason to acquire new books after not buying anything for months, because I wasn't reading for several months, so I didn't buy any books, of course, but I did want to kind of prep for this event ahead of time to hopefully keep myself from spending as much money the day of the event. So glad that I was able to do that and acquire some very fun romances. Some of these I have had for a long time, like all the B. Celeste books minus one of them I've had for 6 months plus now, but everything else I mostly got specifically for this event or at this event, and I'm just really excited to have hauled all of these books and cannot wait to get to them if I haven't already read them, because I have read Phantom and I would recommend it. Please read it. It was so good. But those are all of the books that I've hauled recently, specifically for this event, but really that's mostly all the books that I've acquired recently in general over the last couple of months. I do have another romance convention that I'm going to in August that I've purchased some books for as well, but that stack is very small still, and I'll probably buy a couple of more before the event as well as books at the event. So really excited about that too. But if you've read any of these authors that I've talked about in this book haul video, feel free to comment down below and let me know your thoughts on them. If any of these books look interesting, feel free as well to comment, and I would love to give you more information about them. I don't know a ton about most of these books right now, just because that is in my nature to not know a ton about the books before I go into them, because I do love going into books blind. But I would love to talk about these books with y'all if any of you guys have read them or are interested in reading them. But that's all that I have for today's book haul video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.